ready to go?
Yeah, we're good to go. We're rolling.
Okay. I don't even know where to start here. I guess we're in 86 West, our home, the official home of No Prisoners podcast. We're upstairs in the private dining room. We highly recommend you check out 86 West for all your holiday parties coming up. This will be coming out probably around mid-October. So Halloween's coming. Maybe throw a Halloween party here if you feel like a real baller. You can come here, entertain your whole company, your family, flex on your brother-in-law, let them know how, cool you are. Bring them here with this fine food, great people that work here. We eat here probably too frequently, so we don't have, anything bad to say about this place. Mm-hmm. I think we're addicted to 86 West at this point, and everybody should come here. Mm-hmm.
This place is fire.
Yeah.
I love this spot.
Oh, man. Our guest just introed himself.
Oh, shit.
We got you know that ahead of time.
We have the owner of Menards. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Menard Premium Detailing. Yep.
Menard Premium Detailing. We're really excited to have you in here today. Been trying to do this for a while, and I guess we just had to schedule it far enough out that we could fit you in and you could get in here because it seems like you're a busy guy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we all see like the fancy cars and stuff on your Instagram. How did you start, or how long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so it all started back when I was a kid, oddly enough, with my dad working on his motorcycle, detailing his bike. And my mom was super OCD with her whole house. So that's kind of where I always went back and tried to find out where like the deep center of my obsession with cleanliness in cars.
Yeah, where your trauma originated.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mom and Dad, for that. But it started there, and then when in 2015, I decided that I was at a men's retreat out in San Francisco called Epic Impact, and out there I just went through like these really deep lessons with myself, and again trying to figure out what I truly believed in. And at that time I was in pharmaceutical sales, oddly enough, in the marketing side of things.
So you were a drug dealer?
Oh, dude, 100%. Well, a drug dealer multiple times in my life. At that time I was a seasoned drug dealer.
You were high class. You're peddling pills.
100%.
So you were in pharmaceutical sales, and then just how old were you when you transitioned from pharmaceutical sales into full-time detailing?
So about a year and a half out of college. Yeah,
okay.
So 2015. Oh, well, I was detailing.
So you're like 22, 23 years old?
Yeah, just about, yep. And even in college, I was detailing all my professors' cars. Like, I was always detailing, but it was never for, like, an actual business side of me.
Okay.
And the drug dealer side of me was definitely, my past life. So, and I knew how to run a business and grow a business and do it right. I just wanted to do it legitimized. So that's kind of when I got into the pharmaceutical, just like everybody else around here. And then detailing really became something for me when I realized I wasn't aligned with pharma and a lot of the ethics that pharma believes in.
Okay.
But truly aligned with badass cars and meeting some rad people and, cleaning that stuff up. So
nice. What do you mean? What do you mean by like not aligned with? Like just because you were selling products that like maybe you didn't think were actually helping anybody kind of thing?
So I wasn't even on the product side. I was on the marketing side. So it's called managed care. So it's what gets covered by your insurance. Mm-hmm. So when you go into CVS or you go into your doctor's office and they're writing you scripts, most of the time it's based off of what tier of your insurance will cover that script. So if you have something that's a 0% copay, obviously you're never going to complain about it. They're going to write you the script for that. You're going to go and give that script at the pharmacy. You're going to go home and use those pills and never think about it. Well, once I started really getting into the efficiencies of these drugs that were being prescribed to these patients is when my whole ideal around pharma completely changed, meaning something in tier 1 could have a 70% efficiency rate, but there's a product out there that has a 92% efficiency rate that isn't covered under your insurance. So me being a man, and I love humans and everything about it, and I just want all humans to have just a beautiful, fun, caring life. I was like, how can that be that there's that big of a gap? That's that much better of a product out there, and I can't even market it. I'm marketing the product that's a 70% efficiency rate versus the one that's 92.
Yeah,
so,
that's kind of...
Oh, dude, I'm messing with that.
That's like, there are some people that are just like, whatever. I deposit your bank check every bi-weekly, I guess you would be.
Well, that's what I was doing. I was chasing the money, 100%.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
For sure. I think most of the people in that industry are just, sales is everywhere.
Yep.
But if you're in pharma sales, It's just kind of like you just assume it's that you're chasing the dollar hard.
We are. They call it the golden handcuffs for a reason. Right?
Okay.
So
I've never heard that.
Yeah, the golden handcuffs is kind of like the internal way of describing your job title in pharma. Once you get in there, you're handcuffed, but you're handcuffed with gold. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So they give you a lot back, and I will never disregard pharma under any means. And it was just my specific role within pharma is what I couldn't align with.
Yeah, we're not saying that pharmaceuticals don't serve a purpose.
No.
It just wasn't for you.
100%.
It wasn't them, it was you.
100%.
So you broke up with Big Pharma.
So that was the side of it too, and I was like, well, I've hit my peak. So it was oddly enough, I was in the medical journal side, so I would basically sell ads within a journal, also go do conferences as well, sell ads online for that specific journal. My journal at the time was, out of 50 journals, was middle, 26. So going and asking for a journal at 26, being like, hey, I need $800,000 of ad spend for you was very difficult to do. So my whole goal was, how quickly can I get this to number one? Okay. And I knew nothing about pharma. And this kind of gets into my detailing side and why we were able to grow the way we did. It was like I knew nothing. I still don't know anything about the products I was selling, oddly enough. Like, truly. But I knew a lot about how to connect with the human.
Yeah.
Not even sell, just connect.
Yeah.
And that's when I truly thrived. So within a year and a half, I went from 26 to number one. So it got to the point where I was like, I'm making stupid money. Like, I was 22, 23 years old at the time. I had everything. I had the cars, could travel, had the suits, the watches, you name it. Could go out and spend $1,000 on drinks in a night and not even blink. And then I realized quickly, whoa, like once the reality kicked in, and if it wasn't for Epic Impact, the group of guys that I was with at the time, I would have never realized that. I'd still be stuck in it now.
So Epic Impact, is that still around?
They've now kind of evolved into a couple different companies, yeah.
Okay.
Now, yeah.
And you're the reason, so this was kind of like a mentorship program, or was this just kind of like a men's retreat where you were
so
like,
it started as a men's retreat, yeah.
Okay.
It started as a men's retreat, so you had to be a entrepreneur to some degree, make it minimum 6 figures, and that was about it. So I kind of checked both those off, and then you had to have somebody that would
sponsor you.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah.
Sign you off.
Yep. So I got into Epic Impact based off one of my contacts within pharma. He's like, oh, dude, you'd be perfect for this. You're young, you're a hustler. You're doing great. There's a lot of dudes that are part of that.
It sounds like the gateway to the Illuminati.
I was part of the Illuminati.
Yeah. All right.
Jay-Z is part of it.
That's, I mean, just like the energy you carried in when you came in. I mean, your golden retriever approved. Like, he was all about you.
Say no more.
So I think it makes a lot of sense when you say that you did well on that. You connected with people, but maybe it wasn't for you.
It wasn't.
What came first in terms of like, did someone like tell you about this program, this like mentoring retreat, and they were like, hey, you need this, or were you seeking something like that out?
I was definitely seeking it because I was still young and like out of control, right? So my energy levels, like I'm very, compared to what I was, I'm very calm now because I can I manage my energy a lot different. Like at 5th grade, my teacher was convincing my parents I needed Adderall. Right, and I'm like, what the? Like now knowing it, I'm like, what the hell? Like,
you're like, no, I need more. I need more recess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Yeah, give me something I actually want to do.
Yeah.
Not just sit here.
How about we go outside?
Exactly. And he always pinpointed. Even to that point, the teacher always pinpointed like the 80% that I wasn't involved with. But like math, I loved. Right, recess, of course. Right, being able to talk in like the 15 minutes in between each period, like that, I was all about that.
Yeah.
So later in life, I basically grew to that. But anyway, so he started realizing this through my time because I was just all over the place. And he's like, hey, dude, like, I know you're money focused. I know you got some drive. You're obviously doing really well in this position, but there's a group of guys that you got to figure out your North Star. So he could tell there was something that just wasn't connecting me between my heart, my brain, or my soul and my North Star. He's like, there's a blocker there, and I can have a group of guys that can help you out there. So I'm like, all right, fill me in. Let's see what it's like. So we had like one group call between all the guys. They add me in. There's probably 50 of us at the time.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, this is like 100% where I need to be right now. I'm all about this. So I joined Epic Impact. It was not cheap to do it under any means at the time. That's what scared me the most.
Yeah. So you invested in yourself, basically.
Yeah, and at the time, like, 100%.
What is something like 2015, or you said it was like 2015?
Yeah.
What does something like that cost?
So it's $2,500 a month. Okay. And then it was about another $5,000 a quarter in trips. So each quarter they would have a retreat, which is the retreat I had in San Francisco. That would cost about another $5,000.
Okay.
So all in each year, 30, 40 grand.
Mm.
Yep,
but it's money well spent now looking back, almost 10 years ago.
I would do it again right now. So what? I got coaches. So 100%. Yeah, I still have coaches. So it's 100%, no questions asked, which I was very, I don't even call it egotistical at the time. I was just like my way at the time. It was never, I didn't know I needed help. And even when help came, I always pushed it away.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
It definitely took me until, I'm 35 now. It probably took me until, I don't know, 30, maybe 31, where I started I met my wife when I was 27, 28, and that started to wear me down a little bit. And then over time, I kind of just realized that, maybe I don't know everything.
Yep.
And the sooner I can just get to the answer and the information, it didn't matter what I knew or didn't know. It was just let's just get to it as quick as possible.
For sure.
So you got that experience at a pretty young age then.
Oh, big time, yeah.
Yeah.
So our dad passed away too when I was young. So I didn't really have, not that I didn't have a father figure. I mean, he's still to this day the greatest man to ever live.
Yeah.
In my eyes, and he taught us lessons, even through death. Taught us lessons that most people will never be able to receive in life.
Oh, no shit.
So, and it's all legacy is obviously the biggest factor behind that. The legacy he left behind. Even being at his funeral and watching, thousands of people standing outside to go and say hello to him.
Okay.
During his last days, or his last day, when he was there. It was just a wild experience, super wild experience, especially when I was that young.
How old were you when that happened?
13.
Oh, shit.
Yep, super young. I'm 1 of 5 as well. So
yeah, your sister who was,
beautiful
I
sister.
guess, supposed to be on the podcast, and she's substituting marketing team right now because younger brother didn't want to, show up and take pictures.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Yeah. What did your dad do for a living?
So he was one of 14 kids growing up.
Holy shit.
Yes.
So he was on a soccer team?
Dude, yes. My grandma was either having sex or giving birth. There was no, for 20 years, 14 kids in 20 years. Yeah. So he...
Are you guys Catholic? What the
Yeah.
I was what the hell is going on
They
here?
don't believe in protection.
Yes. Could you imagine?
Baby boomer.
Could you imagine? Yeah, right. It was just get in the go back
Yeah.
to the house and make more babies.
That's all it was.
Yeah, you don't know anybody that's having 14 kids nowadays
Wild.
is an immigrant or up to something.
100%. And usually with multiple people.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not there's not one
No.
one system going down here. It's you got siblings in a different state you don't know about. You found
100%.
out on Facebook.
And I definitely have cousins in states that we don't know about. Even one of our uncles had a funeral.
Well,
and a
one of
kid
14,
came in.
you do that. If you're 5 and there's 14, so it's 14 times 5. That's a lot of cousins.
It's a lot. We have over 100 cousins. Because a lot of our uncles, too, were starting to have kids when they were young, too. Because at the time, 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or I guess in the 90s is a little bit, it changed a little bit. But 70s and 80s, hey, you're 18 years old. Get going. Let's go.
Dude, so besides besides beating up your mom your grandmother,
Yeah.
your grandfather and your dad, what did they do?
So Grandpa was out of the Navy.
Okay.
He was a boxer on the ship, oddly enough. And then came off, obviously, and was part of the baby boomer era. Had all his kids. Was just trying to find a way to produce. Even my aunt, I still hear stories about them growing up. And even my aunt, they had rats inside their house. So when they would die, they would put them in the freezer. One of my aunts, my Aunt Polly. And when she had enough rats, she would skin them, sew them together, and make gloves for her siblings out of the rat skin.
Gloves for the siblings? That's
how bad it
back-to-back episodes. We were talking about rats. We were talking about grass-fed
Yeah.
rats with somebody else.
Grass-fed, is that a thing? I don't know about that.
New York does some different
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, so your
that was
dad's
that, yeah.
one of 14.
So dad's one of 14. So he basically was, even when we were young, didn't really have anything. Was just working sales jobs at the time, and then ended up going to a company called Unisource, and they paid for him to go get his master's. So he went to Kellogg, worked his ass off, doing it at night while raising us boys. Claire came a little bit further down the line. She's got a couple years in between. They always wanted a baby girl, and they finally got one.
She's the
Thank the
youngest.
Lord, yeah, she's the
They
youngest.
just kept trying until they got you, and then they quit.
100%. Now my mom said she would have 4 boys again before another girl.
How many years difference between the two of you?
7, yeah, 7 years.
7.
And there's a brother in between us, Reeder Rabbit, who honestly most of our creative ideas, all of them, come from Reed. He's just a creative genius. But anyway, so our dad went to Unisource, went to Kellogg, got his master's, and after that they put him right into a VP position, and he had got part of acquisitions and mergers and private equity.
Kellogg, the cereal company?
A little different. Yes, Kellogg was paper company.
Okay.
So they ended up selling to Georgia Pacific. If you look at the houses that have the yellow paper on the side, most of the paper in today's world, honestly, as Georgia Pacific. So he headed the merger between Unisource and Georgia Pacific and 3M as well. 3M was part of it.
So he was part of that paper money.
Basically, yeah. But he didn't have much. I mean, he had no money. Like, my mom was like, dude, your dad never made $100,000 until basically he was in his 40s. Right? My dad died when he was 46. So they were, and my mom never worked. She had to raise 4 kids. So there was really nothing there. Super fortunate, though, to grow up and seeing my dad in that, because the coolest part about my dad, and I'll say this 100 times over, and something I strive to do every single day, is that even when my dad was CEO of these big companies, no matter what, and it was a rule that even to his secretary, that when one of his kids called, or a family member or his wife, didn't matter if he was closing a $100 billion deal or if he was eating lunch, you walk in, you give him the phone, and he answers that call, and he talks to you the whole time, as if nothing's going on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. So no matter what, every time we called, even if it was just to complain about our mom, be like, oh, mom's not letting me go outside and play with, cousin Lucas, your dad would handle and say, answer the phone, even if he was about to write a deal down the line, that was last to him, first with his family, always. And that was a written rule through all his businesses that he was part of, which is really, really cool. Something I struggle with, especially as you get really busy and, you have all these things that are going on. It's something I struggle with.
Do you have kids?
Not yet. Nope.
No.
Working on it.
How old are you?
32.
Okay.
Just turned last weekend.
Nice.
Weekend.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're 32 now. Yep.
You like actively working on it, or like in the future? Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, we've been working on it for about 2 years now.
Okay.
Going through that. We just did our first round of IUI last month.
Nice.
Or a couple weeks ago, I guess it would be. So we'll see if it starts hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like knowing your family history, you probably just gotta like hit the rhythm.
I mean,
like
I said.
Put on the right music or something.
I was freaking out. Okay, so do you guys know the process of IUI at all? Sorry.
No, go for it, dude. Drop some knowledge.
Okay, so for the female, they go through a ton of testing. It's so sad to actually watch to see how much testing a woman goes through. It's very taxing on them to go through all this testing. For the male, you get your blood drawn and you come in a cup. That's it. So I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, if my sperm isn't loaded like all my in-laws, like my heritage, I'm like, there's zero chance. It can't be. But once you do it, it's like a 4-day wait. It's like waiting for a new iPhone. You're freaking out. It's like, when is this thing going to arrive? So finally I got the testing, and they're like, Mr. Menard, you got 4 times the normal sperm. And I was like, let's go. They said the morphology is a little fucked up. It's like a 2 out of 4. It's a little messed up. If you want to beep that out, sorry. But they're like, your morphology is a little weird, but whatever. Your sperm just looks weird. It's not. You want to be the first person with weird sperm. I was like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, weird sperm. Like, you're just a big dude. I think there's a big dude sperm.
Yeah, big dude sperm.
That's what they should be saying.
Let it launch it.
Yeah, you got Hulk Hogan in there, buddy.
Well, dude, so the funniest thing.
Can you imagine just looking under in a microscope and it's just like a big ass sperm giving you the finger, like, let me out.
Yeah.
Get me out of this cup.
I want some Stone Cold Steve Austin energy in there.
Yeah.
Give me the beers, baby. Give me those Miller Lights. Yeah.
Your baby comes out just cracking beers.
Black leather jacket.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm definitely getting your first kid a vest.
The skull on the back.
You got like thick arms too, just fitting in there.
Yeah, the dude's going to be raging. Well, the crazy part, dude, is when you come in this cup, so the cup's this big, I'm like, oh, I'm going to fill that thing up. Like, I'm going to need to figure out a space to let this thing overflow.
You like blow a hole in the back of the cup.
Dude, it was like, okay, here's the cup. Sperm came to like barely graze the bottom.
What was it like? Do you think nerves?
No, that's normal.
Have you ever filled a cup with sperm though?
Never.
Well,
never tried.
That's what I'd be thinking. Like, I'd fill a decent cup up, but I've never tried. So
you'd have to ejaculate 100 times.
Oh shit!
Like pure, like it was that. Just like that's
it's not like Austin Powers.
Why do you think I sat there for 4 days thinking that was the problem? And my wife's not the problem either. It's just technology. The doctor said technology's just not caught up to what's going on. You've been trying for this long. Something should have happened by now. We just don't know what it is. So we're just gonna try that. Start at step 1. And go to step 4. Let's not jump to step 4, just so we can work our way up.
Yeah, who knows? Cool. You just might not be drinking enough. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, all the people I know with 14 kids are all like Irish in my side. So like, I mean, I only have a brother, so I don't know what happened there, but I think it's a lot of the drinking just gets it done.
That's it.
Maybe you should have drank that Guinness instead.
I drank a couple of those before I got on here. Don't worry. I got Irish. I mean, it's called Guinness.
So your dad was a hardworking man.
Yeah.
You obviously just were a normal kid in high school and stuff like that. Just
normal,
being.
Were
you a class clown?
To a degree. They call me the mayor I went to East, so they call me the mayor going through there.
Why?
Because I was great friends with the principals, the teachers.
You're just the guy with
attendance
cool
lady.
with everybody.
Yeah, like I would always walk up to them, and even though they were adults, like I would just give them, even if it was 10 seconds a day, it added up over time. Naturally, it wasn't like I was thinking about this stuff. But sooner or later, they started calling me the mayor, and it's kind of stuck to that front because it was cool because I just got to know everybody there. But I was completely normal kid. Played basketball, ultimate frisbee. Love a little disc. Got some long arms. I could chuck that thing.
Hell yeah.
So that, but growing up through East, there was nothing. And went to Penn State. Like I was just a little, I was focused on human interaction versus books. Always have been. Always will be.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for me to read a book unless I'm truly, truly invested in it. But I will go and talk to a person for 10 hours straight. And I love doing that. It just comes natural to me. It's not like I forced myself to do that under any means.
Yeah.
So when I got out of school, even at Penn State, I struggled with the academic side of things because I focused on friendship, growing new relationships, talking to professors. Like a professor.
You majored in social activities.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
As most people that go to Penn State do.
100%.
You're like, I've talked to a couple people that went to Penn State, and you're like, you studied international law?
Yeah.
But you're a nurse now?
Yeah.
What the fuck happened?
Well, I studied agricultural business management. I studied farms.
Nice.
Did you want to be a farmer?
No, so I failed out at Penn State.
Okay.
I did not that I don't want to be a farmer. I was super intrigued because I love the food business, truly do. So I was super intrigued on how something can be basically planted here and end up on your table halfway around the world. So I was always intrigued by that. So it actually worked out in my favor because some of the business studies I learned in agriculture gave me so much knowledge to what I do today. But
It's weird how you can kind of go to school for like nothing related to what you do now.
Yeah.
But there are like lessons hidden in there.
Yep.
That's why I struggle with people like being like, should I go to college or should you not?
Yeah.
I've gone to college. Like I have almost 2 bachelor's degrees, and it just kind of like, in some ways I'm like, yeah, like you should go to college. And then in some ways I'm like, what would it have been like? Cause I'm very resourceful. I read a lot. Like I'm good with information that I'm like, could I have done all of this without going to school and just YouTubed it, gone to YouTube University? Yep. So it's early. Like, I think for us, I mean, we're pretty close in age. So like the internet was like it was around, but it was still kind of new. So like college was a thing, whereas like nowadays it's hard to tell these kids like,
100%.
like, I don't know if my kids will go to college because like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is an experience where you just kind of, you meet people and you learn things. It might not be like what you went to school for.
Yeah.
But
and I told my mom that too, because when when I was going to go to Penn State, I said, "Mom, can I start a business?" So I was selling Arnold Palmer's and Flamin' Hot Cheetos at the back of my Honda Element at East, and I was slugging candy out of my backpack, and then I got caught by the principal. He's like, "Dude, you can't do that." So I went to my car because he didn't say I couldn't do it out of my car at the end of the day.
That's true.
So I'd go to B&B Beverage in Doylestown. I'd pick up a case of Arnold Palmer's, about $6, it's 25 cents a can. I'd sell it at $1 or $2 to all my friends. I went to Buckingham Deli. To Esther there. To Esther, can you order me cases of Flamin' Hot Cheetos? She gave them to me basically a couple bucks over cost. They cost me like 35 cents. I would sell them at $1. So
Damn.
so it was awesome. The hustle started young. Out of my Honda Element, it was awesome. But
and the Honda Element, like that's a
bro.
I feel like you got to snowboard if you have that car.
Well, I don't Oh, dude, I got snowboarding stories. Not good. I don't snowboard. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, when you're as tall as the trees, you might not want to be snowboarding.
I do not snowboard. I say I snowboarded. No, I don't snowboard.
Well, you had half of it down. You had the Element.
I had the Element, 100%. We bought that thing. Yeah, it was a phenomenal car. But so I went to Penn State. I was like, Mom, like, can I just start a business? Instead of spending the money on college, we were very fortunate that my mom and dad were able to save up enough to put us through. And I was like, can I spend this on a business? And she goes, no, I want you to get the college experience, because my mom never had it.
Yeah.
My dad barely had it, too. He went to a college that was local to his town.
That's kind of like the whole generation of people that raised us, like those boomers, and they just all wanted you to go to college because like most of them only went to like 2 semesters at community college, so they just wanted more for you, but 100%. Really didn't realize like
a master's and a bachelor at the time meant a ton. Like my dad, if he didn't get that master's, oh dude, there'd be no way we're living in Doylestown, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was credentials back then.
100%.
Yeah,
times have changed. I never got asked even for a diploma when I was in my old job. And I made more money than every single one of my friends that were lawyers, doctors. Didn't matter.
They just wanted to make sure you could pick up the phone and dial it.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
just
even
keep dialing.
Yeah.
I just picture you kind of like working at Wolf of Wall Street.
I wasn't. I mean, cold calling's tough for me. I don't cold call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now you don't have to.
Yeah.
I still, no. But I love when a random person, like even today, a random person walks in the door. I started wearing sandals lately, just for I don't know. I went to Hawaii a couple weeks ago. I was like, I'm just going to wear sandals to work now.
Yeah, it is a vibe. Like when you walked in with long pants and sandals on, I was like, damn it, I should have done that.
Right. It's sick.
Fucking guy's cool.
Yeah, when it's 20 degrees out, I'm going to do it too. But
you know who Wim Hof is?
Oh, I fucking love Wim Hof.
Yeah, it's like you're just going to straight go like Doylestown Wim Hof.
100%. Put me in
like, look at this guy just
yeah.
like shifting gears. And my brother growing up, we like he had a car that we built, and
what was it?
20th anniversary GTI.
Sick.
Yeah, it's some work. We still have it.
Really?
And
You built it?
What?
You built it?
Yeah, it's like completely. I think it's like the turbo's done, intercooler, suspension.
Let's go.
Yeah. And now it's just like if we brought it past the shop, like let's just say you would clean the paint off of it, and we'd have to like start from scratch. Like we're gonna get back to it probably next summer.
Cool.
And my brother had this pair of like Air Force Ones high tops, and they were he would just like leave them in the car. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like you get in the car every time you change shoes. Like, what is your problem? And he's like, dude, these are my driving shoes. And one time he got out of the car. We got out of the car with the shoes on. And what I didn't realize is they were so worn down that he could like feel the pedals like he was barefoot. He steps right in a puddle, but the front of the shoe had like a big hole in it. And he was like, oh, forgot to switch shoes. I was like, oh, now I see, dude. I thought you just were like a weird kid.
So all my
and
driving
he knows my brother too.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Dude.
He would have like a pair of sneakers in the back of his car. Yeah,
well, bro, tell him to go barefoot. I drive barefoot everywhere.
Really?
I take my shoes off. Yeah, when I drive. Obviously, I got sandals on now, but I drive barefoot everywhere.
Yeah.
I get out of the car. I walk a lot barefoot. A lot. Yeah. It's great. It's
You're
cool.
just footing it around, dude.
100%. It's disgusting when I get into bed, though.
You're like the world's biggest hobbit.
I like that.
Yeah, you can have it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
You just like your feet are just so callous. You just like your sandals aren't even gonna last that long.
So our brother Nick, oddly enough, he's taller than me.
Oh no way.
Nick was super professional. Ran like multiple pain doctors out in Baltimore. And then when I got into coaching, it's because of him. So my brother Nick called me one day. He's like, hey dude, like there's this life coach thing that's going on, certification. I need to invite somebody. You want to come? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. I'll come down. I'll come drive to Baltimore. So it's outside of DC. We ended up going there. Nick went through his first cert. I learned a lot when I was there. Nick kept with it. Now Nick sold every single one of his belongings, grew out dreadlocks, moved into a 1976 Airstream that's 20 feet long.
Yeah.
Ripped the whole thing apart, built it all out, jumped in his Jeep with his dog, and went to San Diego.
You just cruised.
And dude is just like the Service Bros, mushroom doctor, like loving life, really trying like just super, super deep connection to this earth and other people and humans. And
I love talking to people like that.
Dude,
if he comes to visit, try and link
he's
us
a
up.
breath work doctor. He's big into breath work.
Oh damn!
Nick
So you went. He took you to an event where like you could have got like. Do you coach other people now?
I do. I coach other businesses. Yeah.
Oh nice.
Yep.
Locally or like?
Now all over the states.
Oh yeah.
Yep, all over the states.
How does that work?
So the detail shop, kind of going back there. So starting in 2015, went full time in 2018 when I quit pharma. Jumped all in was in 2018. That's when I went full time. We got our first shop because my mom kicked us out of our garage. I started in my mom's.
As every good business does.
Right, all does. Steve Jobs. So it was one of those moments where I was like, hey, I'm gonna go all in on this. Did, and I don't see it personally. I don't know why, but we were able to progress our business to where it is today faster than basically any detail business has done ever.
Yeah, I would have guessed. I got a quote from you guys to like PPF like a Lexus.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I just never got around to doing it. And then like the salesperson like talked me out of it because I have like off-road bumper, and they're like, maybe this isn't the product. Like, maybe just get it detailed.
Was it Mikey?
I don't even remember, but I have to get it in. I have to bring it in to get detailed. But then like, I was watching your content. I was like, dude, this guy needs to come on the podcast. And then I just like watching your content and knowing like what little I do know about cleaning cars. Like I don't really know anything, but I just know what the difference between like a real detail looks like and what, you know, the drive up to your house and detail looks like.
Yeah.
And I was just watching what cars you were doing. I saw you guys had a Corvette. I think it was a split window Corvette at the car show. I walked past it and I was like, that is my vibe right there. And then I was like, oh, that's the detail shop. And that was over a year ago.
Yep.
And then I just kind of was following your content from them and just seeing, one, how you present yourself is very modern, like any business that's growing like yours is like marketing themselves, personally the way you guys are, and or like that personal touch. But just like the size of your shop and like your staff, like you kind of catch little glimpses of like how many people there are, and I'm like, this business must be like a family business, or like this must be around for a while. But to hear you guys have like only been around since 2018, 5 years, is obviously a testament to like how you're doing things.
Yeah.
Would that be like your approach, or is it like a combination of with like your approach and leadership versus like your team? Like how does that all come together in such a short period of time?
100% team. Like if I didn't have my team, I couldn't even be here right now.
So you made some like strategic hires early on. Like you identified that you were like, I need someone that does this.
So without looking back at before I started coaching, there was zero strategy.
You're just winging it.
Fuck yeah.
Just being nice to people and doing a good job.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was it.
Which is like odd because like I don't coach anybody.
Yep.
But I talk to people.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just like, it took me a while to connect those dots. I grew up like a little differently than you.
Yeah.
And like realizing that like you don't have to fight with everybody to get ahead.
Yep.
Is like just being friends with everybody is something kind of I learned. Like it just means a lot more when you see people like appreciate that. It's like good business is really just like paying people on time, asking people how they're doing, helping people when they need help.
Yep. When I left farm, I was very fortunate too. Part of the growth was I didn't have to take any income out of the business. So for the first 3 years, it was funny. So I actually asked my wife, my now wife, we've been together, 10 years now. I met her when I was 21. Sweetheart, wouldn't be here without her either.
Yeah.
Woman's, a bomb.
Most people in your position, have some sort of like relationship like that.
Dude, even today, like some shit went down and I called her and I was going to go like, not off the deep end, but just financially, I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to go buy all this stuff. Because that was like how I just relate to things. And she was like, babe, no. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And she's like, babe, no. She's like, it was just very cool conversation to have with her. Because it was simple and easy. I'm like, by the end of it, I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I really don't need that. It was a 15-second conversation. That seemed like, to me, that it was eternity.
Yeah.
It was 15 seconds. I was like, yeah, you're 100% right. Like, I really don't need that. Like, meaning in people and in the position of running a business, I can just go and throw money out there. Oh, my God, like this. Like, if I wasn't married, I'd be, Jesus. Bro, dude. Like, I'd have a ton of cool stuff. I would be like, oh, my God, what do I do?
Yeah, you'd be going fast everywhere.
Oh, dude. Yeah, 100%. I got slowed down, which is so weird because I was talking about going fast. I got pulled over going 120 on 202 bypass barefoot. That was a fun conversation. So anyway, so we getting to where we are is 100% team. Like, without my team, there'd be none of this. Guaranteed.
How many people, like, what did it look like when you started, and how many people do you have now?
So my guy, Mikey, Mikey and Jim, actually the whole team's kind of like my right-hand man, but Mikey and Jim are like my OGs. So Mikey was 16 years old when he rolled up to my mom's garage. His buddy Colin was the one I said, hey, I think we need some extra help, because I was working at night. I would get home from pharma, settle down for about 30 minutes, jump in the garage, and work till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, get a couple of hours of sleep, and do it all over again. And I did that for a couple of years. I was burnt, but I never felt the burn until, obviously, Epic Impact. Anyway, so Colin, I was like, hey, we need somebody else. I closed a deal with a local dealership. I get any friends, and that's when we brought Mike in. And Mike, dude.
Mikey was just, like, riding by it on, like, his Razor scooter, and just, like, you guys just picked him up.
Dude, Mikey rolls up in an Integra with a packed lip. 16 years old.
Like a Type R, or just like a clapped
PLF.
out Integra?
I mean, it was super nice to a kid in college, or in high school. But he just came with the lip. I looked at him. I said, Mikey, you can work here, but I never want to see a lip in your mouth again. If I ever see you pack a lip again, you're going to get fired on the spot. I don't care where we're at in business or where you're at with me. And he's kept that word to this day. But that was a moment where I was like, okay, I got to take this kid now. Because I grew up when I was 13. Like, I became a man when I was 13 years old when my dad passed. So, but it was very easy for me to do that.
It was a default bar mitzvah.
100%.
Yeah.
Big time default bar mitzvah if I was Jewish. So,
yeah, clear.
Catholic, bro. 14 kids.
Yeah, we've covered it.
But it was cool because I was able, not to mold Mikey, but I was able to guide Mike to be, like, the dude is now 23 years old and running my whole business for me. I call him Millionaire Mike. The dude sells millions of dollars a year in details. Now, we're talking, like, between $200 to Mikey's biggest sales, like 15 grand. Okay. So we're between, do the math behind that. Let's average out our average.
Those aren't like, you're not selling kitchen remodels at like $200-300 grand a pop to do a couple $1 million.
And Mikey's never seen, I mean, obviously he's commission-based, so he sees the sales, but it's never been that for him. I taught him, I was like, dude, you go for the person. You talk to that person, you love that person, you figure out what that person's all about, what they love to do in life, what do they want to do, what was their childhood like, just like this moment. Like, have basically a podcast with this dude to figure out who that guy is. And then once you can connect with just a little cell of that human, you run with it. You don't stop that. And Mikey has just evolved into this fucking awesome dude. So much fun. We were just in Arizona last week, and oh my gosh, just watching him and Colin just run around like animals in 23, it was so cool to watch. It was just awesome. So Menard wouldn't be here without Mikey. Guaranteed, 100%. I got to rely on that dude so much. So it started with Mikey, and then obviously went to Jim. Jim was like top 5 dude in the industry. So we were barely doing like $200,000 a year at this time, which isn't a lot when you have a shop, expenses. We had 5 guys working for us at the time. I still wasn't taking an income, so I was very lucky for that. And then
so the $200,000 is like all operating costs.
Dude, we didn't make money until 21, like profit wise. Like I was giving everything back. Like I didn't take a dime out of the business till 21.
Why did you keep investing into it?
I don't know. I
still
don't.
Right.
It wasn't even a thought. Like it was just like $1,000 goes in, I'm investing it into this. It was never me. I never thought about Grant first. Still don't. It's always team first. It's always been that. So when it got to the point where the business was actually like, I can actually take like $1,000 a month. This is kind of cool because I had to. It got to the point where I had to.
Yeah.
Because now I'm getting married, buying a house, all these things. So I had no choice but to take some money out. So I had to. Basically, it's okay. I got worried about. I just saw myself as an employee, which is also a very integral part into our success. So I've never seen myself as being the business owner, not once. I'll fire myself just as quick as I'll fire anybody else. Also give myself raises when I deserve them. I'll give myself pats on the back. I'll give myself the pep talks. I'll pull myself out when I mess up. I treat myself with the same respect I do everybody else there. Nobody calls me boss, right? Not a single person. So Mikey, Jim was a top dog, and dude, Jim came in, I got trained by him for getting certified in one of the coatings we use, and I asked him when he was there. It just so happened to be that he lived 40 minutes from our shop. So like, hey, can you come train our guys? Started training, worked 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, and finally I was like, dude, you got to come on full time. And that was the hardest decision I ever made, but it was the riskiest too, because I gave Jim every penny that we had every month. Yeah. So I knew, I was like, I got top dog. It'd be like getting LeBron James. Like getting Messi down in Miami right now. Like spending the money they're spending on Messi right now.
I'm tired of hearing about Messi.
Right? I know, but think about it. We all are. But still, think about the last couple of games, okay? Or going up to Colorado and getting coach. Like, you spend the money, you take the risk, you know what the reward's going to be. The reward is the easy part. You already know what the end result's going to be.
I don't know where I heard this or read it, but basically, like, if you have 5 guys on your team and they're all 10s, and then you go out and you hire a 5, and your 6 man's a 5, like, you hurt the average rate. Like,
culture hurts, yeah.
Yeah, you only want to invest in the team to the highest caliber that you can reach to.
Yeah.
And you don't want to, like, bring people in, especially not in the beginning, that are going to, like, make you weaker. I'm dealing with a subcontractor right now where he was supposed to, like, do some work for me next week. And he does a lot of work for me. He's a good guy, good company, but he has 2 guys on his team that apparently don't work there anymore as of today. But he was like, hey, are we like set up for next week? And I'm like, dude, like, you're not doing it. Like, I can't have those 2. I can't have them around. Like, you either need to get rid of them and like level your team back up or do something. He was like, I already made the call. Like, the one guy's already gone, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, I really respect you for doing that. Like, understand that, like, I really enjoy doing business with you, but like, I can't work with these guys. Yeah. So I totally sympathize and like understand like how important it is early on in a business to kind of like take those risks. Have 100%. you ever hired anybody that you knew was like when Gilmar came on with me, he was a head chef of a restaurant, and he knew content and he knew like photography, but that's not what he was doing. Have you ever like taken someone on that like you just knew would kind of like fall into a spot and like build them up into a position?
Oh, 100%. Every single one.
Oh, yeah.
Every single one.
All right.
Everyone starts in the same position, which is you go in there and you wash a car for like 6-8 months straight. Like biggest thing is what time do you show up at? your interview at.
Yeah.
That's the biggest factor. But everyone starts in the same spot, and then I let them decide where they want to go. It's the biggest difference between how I run this business and how thousands of others run theirs. Is that I let the person decide where they want to fall, and then I build a position around them.
Okay.
I want them to go and be like, hey, I want to go and do this within the company, and I'll be like, absolutely. Give me 6 months. I'll build that position for you.
So, like, say you hire, your content guy, you, like, made him wash cars at first?
Mark?
Yeah.
Mark already knew what he was doing, yeah.
Okay.
Mark came in, he already knew what he wanted. Most people don't. They're like, oh, I'm going to come here, but I had an interview earlier this week. The dude launched 60 positions at me. So I'm like, what do you want to do? He goes, well, I want to wash cars, and I want to detail, and I want to do interiors, and I want to go and paint correct, and I want to install PPF. Oh, what about window tint and installing vinyl wraps? I'm like, bro, we just got to figure out where you got to fall.
Yeah, so
we're gonna let you try everything.
Not like you don't have like jack of all trades in your shop. Like you kind of have people.
Everyone is a jack of all trades.
Okay.
Everyone can step in to most positions, not all positions, but most positions at any time.
What would you say like is the most difficult service that you offer to learn?
Okay. Paint protection film by far.
Yeah.
So it's one thing I've actually never done.
That looks like a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
So when you guys are like making the videos of it, when I watch it online, I'm like, God damn, like how do you keep the like how do you cut it? Like how do you I just watch it, like you kind of get sucked into it.
You do.
Especially when you're doing, a $300,000-$400,000 car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've actually, and that's cool. It's funny you say that. We never look at the value of the car, oddly enough. We look at how difficult is this going to be to lay on.
Yeah.
And a lot of the $20,000 cars is a lot more difficult than the $400,000 cars that are out there.
People are putting the film on $20,000 cars.
Oh yeah, GTI, bro. Yes. Student spent $7,000.
We're gonna need to get the car like completely repainted. We say that like it's just gone too fast and the paint wore off. Like it just kind of like
I like that. We'll wrap it. We'll make it cool.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. My brother's like, dude, what are we gonna do with this piece of shit?
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't know. At this point, we're either getting the whole car painted or we're gonna wrap it. Yep. And knowing how we drive, painting a car is probably not a good idea.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's paint. I mean, even paint. Like there's certain things we don't get into. That's one of them. Paint's just an art in itself. But
what would you say like the second hardest thing is, besides like the PPF?
I mean, actually polishing. So I didn't realize the level of polishing a car. Like I always thought it was like cut and polish. You can do it in 2 hours. Like when I first started the business, we were getting cars done in 3 hours, cut, polish, ready to go, back to the dealer. Looking at the same color, which is what you have to do in ceramic coating, it's 90% of the time, 95% of the time is actually sitting there with a polisher and removing all the imperfections within your paint. What that means to a human is you're looking at the same color for 20 hours straight.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at red for 3 days in a row. You're looking at black, and it could be your third black car in a row. It could be 2 weeks of staring at black. Like it is so mentally straining that I personally cannot do it. I don't know how Jim and Nick do it. I don't know how half the guys did it that are now in the film side of things. I've now moved past it because it is so difficult. You're just looking at a color, and you're sitting there and going 2 feet at a time, squares, up, down, oh, and then the worst part is when you go to do a final wipe down, and you realize, oh shit, there's something in that microfiber, which is something that I've learned over time that we use brand new everything on every car. It's all brand new, every single car, because now you got to go redo that whole car that you just looked at for 3 days in a row. It's just, it's even talking about it, like, gets me sweaty.
Yeah, I see you. Just like, you're like
grabbing
your knees.
up.
You're like, going to flip this table
up.
over, dude.
Felt the energy change.
God, dude, it's so difficult. It's, I mean, the mental side of things, right? You're like, to go and do this over and over and over again. I don't care what position it is in the company. There's really not one that's better. It's like, okay, what is it hardest to do? Light film. Okay, 100%. But every single person I have the same level of respect to, because they could come in every single day and legitimately do the same thing over and over again. Relative, there's differences. Some mom leaves a French fry in the back. Some dad spilled some coffee, right? There's a lot of differences with what job is you have to attack, but you're doing the same thing every day.
Do you upcharge for golden retrievers?
No, because I love Goldens. Yeah, my Lucille's at home.
Yeah, I think I want to get my work truck done. I have like a GMC like crew cab, and I'm like, that's the next thing. I was like, I'm gonna hang out with him, and then I'll probably just schedule it.
Done.
And I was just kind of like looking at my back seat. I have like the hammock in there.
Yeah.
But like I'm like, God damn! Thank God I put these Carhartt seat covers on these bitches, because I took them off for the first time like a couple weeks ago, and like vacuumed out. Like somehow they're just like was just dust inside there, and there was like from like the construction sites. I'm like, maybe I need to get this quoted like in person, because I don't think this would be justice if I just called up and be like, yeah, I've got a GMC.
So we learned that quick. When I ask people like, how dirty is your car? And they're like, oh, it's not too bad. That means it's trashed.
Yeah.
People are like, oh my God, my car is so dirty. I don't know what I would do. Like, I really can't stand looking at it. And it comes in, I'm like, what? This thing needs nothing.
It was the like most expensive car I ever bought at the time. And, I immediately started a new, like 2 different construction sites like the next week. And like after a week of a year-old golden retriever, in a like, I was like, why did I buy this? I had instant buyer remorse.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I should not have bought this nice of a truck.
What color is it?
Black.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That's the hardest color to do too.
Especially GMC.
Yeah.
By far. It's super soft.
These
are all things you learn. It's weird. It's weird the amount of knowledge I have now around like, correcting cars and getting cars back to what they need to be. So it's odd. Which is also difficult because when I go to like networking events, I used to go to them, but if I go to like talk to random people, like some of the time it's like all I can think about is car. Like it's weird because I used to have all this knowledge around other, things that are going on in this world, and now I'm just so ingrained with cars, completely like across all my companies. All my companies, it's a web. It's all based around automobiles.
Okay.
Just so weird.
I hope you come to our happy hour next week.
I'll come to
it's like the least networking event we could do.
Yeah, we're not handing out business cards.
No, I hate that shit, dude.
Dude, I almost...
When people ask me for business cards, I say no. I say,
I don't do that.
No.
We had a lady who snuck into one of the events. It's open to the public, so like anybody can technically come. But we had this lady, I turned around, she had like an electrician shirt on, and she had a fist of business cards. And I looked over, and my wife like caught my glance, and she like,
knew.
Just bring it down. I wanted to like smack this woman's hand and be like, get out of here. Why? Like, she's like not even meeting anybody. She's just handing the cards out.
As if that does anything.
Yeah, it doesn't do shit. That's why we started. I was telling your sister why we started the podcast before we got going. And it was kind of like, I like remembered our conversation based upon like how you were telling the guys like how to sell and like how to like connect with the customer. The reason we started the podcast and like people probably have heard this ad nauseum now. It was like I really just wanted to meet one person at a time and give them a reason to come meet us.
Yeah.
And then just be friends with everybody, because it was really hard at the time. We were, when we started it, then Corona happened. I was like, damn, networking's done. Like, we're going to just keep doing this podcast. And we were able to sit down with some pretty, what seemed like unobtainable conversations by just being like, yeah, we have a podcast. It was like the bait and switch. They were like, yeah, sure, we'll come on the podcast. I was like, tricked you.
Let's go.
Yeah, like we sat down and like who was like, I guess Lance Bachman would be one of those guys.
I love Lance.
Yeah.
One SEO.
Cool. Yeah. So we became pretty cool with
his
Lance.
Big ass hat on the side of his van.
Yeah.
I said, Lance, I'm not detailing this thing, bro.
And he was hard to get, and we finally just
the Lion's Den, right?
Yeah. We just went straight to him.
Yep.
We just showed up, and his whole team kept coming up to us and being like, "What are you guys gonna ask him?" I'm like, "Dude, we wing it.
Yeah.
Like I'm here to meet Lance."
Yeah.
And they were like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, bring the big dog in, dude. Let's get him in. And
Lance is awesome.
It's like podcasts like that have been really great. Even like the Service Brothers. So being able like, it's really helped me learn how to sell, or like take the sell out of selling. Like, let me learn about you. Let me see, like, because with like what I do, like not everybody I meet with is ever going to be a customer.
Yeah.
Like not everybody wants what we offer. So like you really learning how to like connect with the individual and still value everyone, because like you might never want, a nice remodel or a new house, but like you've got like how many 100 plus cousins. So you kind of have to realize that everybody knows somebody, or, everybody's got a story. And the podcast was just kind of like my way of just kind of networking.
The coolest part is when you don't have to sell.
Yeah.
Ever. Like there's never a hard close.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to offer it. Ever. You just have relationships.
Come here. Come don't.
Yeah.
And we built a bar in the front of our shop, a full-on bar.
Oh, shit. No way.
Endless drinks. Whatever you want at any time of day. I don't tell anybody.
Okay.
So if your wife's in the car and I can tell her at 7 a.m. that you're ripping a shooter, right? I'll rip one with you. Connection, right?
When we reached out like through DMs, like that, you like whoever we were talking to in your DMs was just like, do you guys have a bar? And I was like, dude, that was the first time anybody. We used to have the podcast in my office, and we had like a little arrangement of alcohol, and people occasionally would be like, are these for decoration?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, let's pour it up.
Yeah.
But you were the first person that had like a rider in your negotiations.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I mean,
you see, we bring, every car that leaves our shop, we give them a bottle of rum.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
That's
so we're
cool.
all about gifting. So the art of gift. Giftology is John Ruhlin. John Ruhlin made a phenomenal book around it. It's the art of gifting.
Okay.
You can build a connection via gift. So it's not just gifting like for a birthday or for Christmas or, New Year's and sending it, what everyone else does, the damn postcard to your house and you just throw them away. It's actually how can you provide them with something that's really important to them, specifically to them, that will last a lifetime. Might that be an experience or actually something that's tangible?
Yeah, we used to, or not used to, I still do. I give like the Service Brothers, like I gift them to customers.
Oh, that's cool.
If the customer will like, there's been customers where I'm like, this isn't going to hit. Like, these two boys are going to wear this person down.
Yeah. You can send them my way in that situation.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like something to just kind of, tell people you appreciate them with, like, words don't mean anything anymore, especially with social media and stuff. Like, everybody's out there just shouting out random shit all the time anyway. That's why I was, like, interested to hear more about, like, your coaching kind of vibe, because there's so many people. I mean, we interact with them where there's, like, this 22 or 20-something-year-old business coach, and it's like, I just, slaved for the last 15 years trying to grow a company, and then maybe in the last 5, like, really hit my stride. And now I'm like, dude, what, 5 years ago I felt like I was my stride. Now I feel like I'm hitting my stride. So it's cool to see that, like, you've actually done things and also kind of like see the world in the way you need to see it to be successful as a coach. Not necessarily successful for yourself, but successful in terms of like actually helping your students.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Because I don't think it's an age thing.
No,
I think it's like
no, dude. I got a 70-year-old client. Like, he's 70 years old.
Yeah.
I got clients in the dumpster world. Right. So what I did in business is it's transferable in any industry.
Yeah, but you actually have to have experience. Like,
you do.
You started at 13.
Yep.
And then, you had college, pharmaceutical sales, invested a ton of money into the detailing business. Like, now you have a great reputation, you have a great way about you, and you have like your great team, like team first.
Oh, if it wasn't for the team, I wouldn't have a reputation.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like hearing those things. It's a lot of times when you hear people like, oh, they lead with that they're a coach.
Yep.
And that, I went to a seminar last week where the guy was speaking to a room full of, builders and contractors. And I was like, oh, like, how'd this guy get his start in the business? And this guy was a very cool guy. He seemed very resourceful, seemed like he had a lot to offer in terms of help, but he had no, other than like being a coach for contractors, like he had no contracting or building experience. And that kind of like, as cool as, like, I have nothing bad to say about that guy, but it was kind of like, at first I was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, geez.
Yeah.
Like, and, sometimes those people can connect with someone, but when you have, I've made a lot of mistakes. Like, I need someone that's like made more mistakes than me to coach me.
Well, I call you out on those mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm a no bullshit coach.
Yeah, so, but you know what those mistakes look like.
Yeah, to human nature, though, it's a lot easier. So it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter what industry, because I'm not going to go throw myself into different industry or all industries.
You're coaching people.
100%.
Yeah. You don't serve like a niche market or anything like that. Like, what is your...
I mean, the detailing world, of course, right? Because that's where I'm involved with. But there's no industry, there's no market I won't take on, because at the end, just like you said, it's the person. And a lot of the time, it's just it's breaking down their personal demons that are internal to them and saying, okay, how can we really internalize what's going on here, or externalize what's going on internally, and then figure out what's the right way to do this? Because everyone's just so reactive now. It's like, oh, this problem happened. Like, last night I had one of my coaching clients call me, and he was freaking out because one of his guys called out halfway through the day to go be home with his girlfriend because they're struggling with financially and she's struggling with her health. Okay, so one guy leaves, goes home to be with somebody that he loves more than the shop. And the dude's reaction to him was to blow him up, saying how he threw the business under the ground into the ground that day, how the jobs aren't going to be done, how it's pushing him back so many weeks. And I called him, I was like, bro, I'm not going to use his name obviously, but I'm like, dude,
Yeah, we call that guy Gary.
Gary.
Anybody that fucks up at my company is Gary.
Well, I have a guy named Gary. So, Gary, this is not about you, buddy.
Yeah. Damn, you actually have a a real Gary?
We have a real Gary. He's awesome. Dude, he shreds the guitar. So, during Tacos and Tailpipes this year, he got up on stage, and he just rips the 6 strings national anthem.
Introducing Gary for his
Yeah,
solo.
it was, and he did it for our Christmas party a couple years back. Oh, it was so electric.
And then the cops were like, no, there's too much America.
This is shut down.
We love you guys, but too much America's going on.
We can't have America in Warminster, Pennsylvania. But it was just talking the dude through the situation, right? It was like, hey, and I'm always, as hard as it for me is to do, I always take the other side. So even if I completely agree with you, completely and utterly agree with you, I want to look at the other side, and I'm going to tell you that the other side is right and see how you react to that every single time, no matter what. So I took the devil and the angel.
Yeah, so if either of us hire him, write down that text.
Yeah.
You fucking with me.
Yeah. I'm like, I am.
Stop using your Jedi mind tricks on me.
Exactly. But it's just cool. It's fun for me to do that because then it's situational. Like everything we do is situational. Half the time I actually haven't gone through the situation, but it's very easy to figure out. I'm coined now. My nickname at the shop is the solutionist. Okay, so I work a couple hours a week at the detail shop now because I have all these other things going on, and I'm very fortunate to do that because of my team. But every time I get a call, I know it's going to be something that we had to figure out a solution to.
Your job is to solve problems at this point.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what it's always been. So what's the problem? What's the solution? What's the opportunity? What's the solution to that? How do we go after that? This is where we want to be. How do we get there? So I've always been solution-based. Everything, all the way down, you can get to I don't need to get there, but it's always been what is the outcome and how do we make that happen?
Okay.
So it's always solution-based. And even it comes down to how do you react in a situation too? Like, what's the solution to that situation? What do you want? What's the outcome you want out of the situation? He wanted the dude to come back, right? But the dude needs some time away. And his whole thought process was in that moment, not over the overarching picture, which is what I see all the time in businesses. They're like, oh my God, we're not doing good this week. Oh my God, we're down 20 grand this week. I'm like, okay, well, how have business been over the last 9 months? Oh, we've made 850 grand. Okay.
Yeah.
Shut the F up about your 20 grand loss, man. Go take a little break. Take a vacation, dude. That's great.
Yeah, stand up. Punch yourself in the nuts.
Then, You know how many businesses don't succeed every single week?
Yeah.
Every single one, okay?
Yeah.
So
perspective.
It's perspective. Everyone's not everyone. A lot of the people I talk to, just in general, are very isolated with the now moment, which is totally fine. I get there too, all the time.
Yeah, I think you were having a moment like that.
I had a moment like that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
it's been only 2 weeks.
I think so. Yeah.
Damn, dude.
How many podcasts have you guys recorded now?
We're almost up to 2. This will be like 181,
something like that.
Something like that.
Okay, so let's say this one doesn't get recorded. You forgot to click record. Okay?
That's happened.
I just checked.
That's happened.
Okay, it's happened. You're gonna freak out during that moment, right?
Yeah.
1 out of 186, dude. That's a 0.5%.
Yeah, you're right.
It ain't gonna make a fucking difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
We came back and we were just like Gilmar told me. I forget what number it was like. It was like number 76.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It was just an accident.
Yeah.
We had water. We had rubber on the road at that point.
It was with
and
Tyler.
you were just like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. Like I was a little pissed, but I was just like, you know what? We did it with our buddy.
Yeah, it was Tyler.
It was a good podcast. It was somebody that we could have back on literally like the next week.
Yeah.
So I was like, honestly, Gilmar, you fucked up.
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
But of all the people to fuck up with, I was like, this was a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's true.
I was like, so I don't really know if we really be mad about this.
Yep.
I don't even think I was I think I was like bummed, but I was just like, whatever, we get to hang out with Tyler again.
Yeah. No, but what he was referring to earlier was, so I'm a new entrepreneur. I used to do media for a bunch of construction companies. I actually started out with Andrew. He took me out of the restaurant industry. I used to do that. I was doing that for 7 years. And Andrew brought me on, and he saw that I had some experience with media because I had my own podcast with my girlfriend, and I was into photography and all that stuff. So Andrew brought me on. I worked with him, and then he split up with his business partner, and then I started working for another company. And then the podcast started to blow up. We started to do networking events. People started to see the work that I was doing for this company and the work that I did for Andrew. So Andrew was kind of the guy that put fuel in the tank and was like, yo, do this shit for yourself.
Yeah.
So
dude, you were dynamite. I just fucking lit the match. I just fucking riled you up. I was like, dude, what are you doing? You're just fucking Mozart did his own thing, dude.
Yeah, there
Let's
you go.
fucking go.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm almost 4 weeks in now as being an entrepreneur, but the first week was rough, man. It was because everything started.
Don't sell yourself short. You're 4 weeks. You're 4 weeks into this.
Yeah, into this
thing. You've been an entrepreneur for a while.
You're right. Yeah, I also own a clothing brand, so I've been doing stuff. But anyway, so what happened was I was dealing with these, the prospective clients, and we were having meetings and whatnot, and I was starting to get feedback from other people that that I guess I wasn't really selling value, or people weren't really trusting what I was doing or trusted the work that I've done.
They were skeptical.
Exactly. And it kind of hit me in the mouth. I was like, what the fuck? I thought, in my mind, I was showing them what I've done. I was giving them value. I was showing them what I've done for people in the past and what I can do for them now. And it was just, it just hit me in the mouth because I thought I had this in the bag, and it's not, it's not a thing. So it kind of I started to doubt myself. I kind of had a shitty day. And then Andrew called me and we talked about it, and he talked me through it and helped me see the better side of things, where it's like, this shit happens, and, be grateful for that this is happening now and not further down the road. Yep. And, it's part of business. So, I guess him giving me that perspective and boosting me back up really helped me out. So now I know what to look forward in the future. And it's like pretty fucking cool to have people like that.
Hell yeah,
that can, give you a different perspective on life and business. Because it helped me out a lot that week, dude. Like, I needed that.
Yeah, we basically just had a war speech.
Yeah, basically.
I got more fired back up again. And I was just like,
exactly.
Just beat this. I was like, this is what you're gonna fucking do.
Yeah, man.
Tomorrow's a new day. Like, I don't even remember what I said, exactly. But it probably would. You probably like. If you damaged any drywall after that conversation, I wasn't responsible for it.
Yeah, no. But that was a great example in taking a step back and not worrying about exactly today, but the overarching theme. Like, dude, this is new. This shit's going to happen. Pick yourself up and do better the next day, just 1% better every day. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think when you like, I mean, I'm in the same kind of boat, I guess, where it's just like, people know how good my product is. Mm-hmm. I know how good my product is. So sometimes when people are like, well, prove to us how good your product is, and I'm like, son of a bitch, like, how dare you question my value?
Dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, and you're the same with the detail business. I don't know about your other businesses yet. But like, to me, knowing about what I do about cars, like, I'm an easy sell. Like, it's just a matter of like me getting the car there.
Yeah.
Like the price is like,
we can do that for you.
You know what I'm saying?
Get it
Yeah. Now
I have a trailer outside.
He's like, your truck's already on.
Yeah.
You're beat. Yeah. So like, it's just a matter of just scheduling it and just realizing like, oh, you're not gonna have your truck. And then, but like, there are people that probably reach out to you that are like, why is ceramic coat cost this much? I can just go to Pep Boys and just buy the ceramic coat label off the shelf, and they don't realize
it's my favorite
what goes into it. And that's like, that's kind of why I went so hard into social media. Like I've been doing it a little while now, but like Gilmar helped me build our YouTube channel up, like for the construction company, up to like almost 2,000 subscribers. Like, wow. Just like Instagram and everything like that. And I knew like if I was going to compete with the big dogs like Zavetta or, some of these other companies that have been around for 40 years, I was like, why, like, how can I get there in less than 40 years? And I was just like, well, if I educate every single person that I can about why we are so legit and just go hard into that, it'll like skip steps. Because really the only thing that's different between them and me is like people know their value because of like the name, but they don't even know what they do.
Yeah.
So if I can kind of just like connect those two dots where I'm just like, hey, this is what we're doing here and this is why it's of value to you, I will kind of like eliminate that, quote unquote competition. There's there's not really any competition. But
it's a story.
Yeah.
It's your story. It's the only thing that pulls people out when they're like, well, it's not, what isolates you or what makes you better than somebody else. I said, there's nothing.
Yeah. And being yourself.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing. But I'm happy to share my story. And everyone knows our story. Everyone knows my story and our story because it's our story now.
It's our story now.
It's our story now. Part of it. Let's go.
What if he just reached out and
start floating? Dude.
he's like, this is my wing,
yes.
and you're under it.
My brother Nick's over there with mushrooms, guys. Let's go.
He's actually a shaman.
Yeah.
What's up, Nick?
I think Nick is a shaman. Dude,
if I ever meet him, I'm just gonna be like, Shaman Nick.
Dude, you're gonna love him. Yeah, we love going to saloons. So we try to find saloon. We did a whole trip a couple years during COVID in 21. We decided to hit the road in RVs, and we met him out there. We did San Diego to Seattle and hit all these national parks on the way up. We took off 2 months of work, my wife and I.
Damn.
It was phenomenal. And my sister came out for a little bit. My other brother, or both my brothers, all three of them. And it was phenomenal. But we at each national park we tried to find a saloon, so we called it Saloon Saturdays. And dude, it was wild. Around these national parks, there ain't no towns. Like in Yosemite, there's this little town that's got the oldest saloon in the U.S.
It's just like an old guy just spitting into a bucket out front.
And I was going to drink it. That's how, I was. It was cool going around to all these saloons. It was just a wild experience. But seeing Nick in these places, like Nick's total opposite from most of these guys. Like, Nick's 6'4" or 6 foot. Yes.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
Okay.
So he's 6'5". I never beat the dude in basketball ever. So sad.
That extra inch really adds.
Dude, it's aggravating. I'm 32-year-old, and he's the only person. It'd be different if it was Michael Jordan. It was my brother. Okay? He's got this one move, and I still haven't figured it out. Anyway, so Nick walks in. This dude's 6'5", dreadlocks, with his wife basically on his
I just
arm.
picture him wearing like a shawl.
Dude, basically, he'll go naked. He doesn't care. Like, yeah. They only have
when you're
6'5",
you just walk around naked. You're just such a big dude. Nobody's gonna say shit to you.
No one. Yeah. What are they gonna say? He's barefoot, like walking through New York City, barefoot through New York City. I'm like, you're wild. Like, he carries his sandals obviously when we need to go into places. He's not gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna come in because I'm shoeless.
Yeah.
So he obviously still respects the rules, but it's he's just a wild animal.
What if they kind of like start making like a ruling for people with no shoes like they do for like service dogs, where you just gotta let them in?
Oh, dude,
he's a shaman. We don't care what he's wearing.
I'd be shoeless all day then. This is great. I was playing cornhole last night at Warwick Brewing, shoeless, and all these people were walking over like, why do you not have shoes on? I'm like, I just don't feel like wearing shoes. Like, I'm just like, I don't know, it's muddy. I don't care. Well, I just want to
Yeah.
What like you were mentioning like other businesses that you're in.
Yeah.
Like, what other things are you working on?
All right, so I'm just gonna name them all.
All right.
So we got Menard Premium Detailing. We got Greater Garage. So Menards Detailing is the detail side of things. And then Greater Garage, we build cars, exhaust tunes, intakes, motors, suspensions, wheels.
What's it called?
Greater Garage.
GRATER?
GRATR.
Oh.
We have the greater sign as our logo.
I did not know you were behind that.
Yep. So
okay.
John Stevenson's my business partner with that. He's more the face of it. We started that out of his garage back in the day. So we got Greater Garage, Power Moves Consulting, the coaching side of things. Carheads Auto Group, which is kind of a new thing over in New Britain. We store cars, buy cars, sell cars, consign cars, which is pretty awesome. I work for a company called You're Able. So You're Able is a software company for detailers. They're actually getting into lawn care now too, which is pretty cool. But they brought me on as a brand ambassador, helped them kind of develop the app years ago. All behind it, there's father, son, daughter. Like, he was retired. Dude's got buku bucks, and he was like, screw it, let's go start a business with my kids.
Yeah.
It's so cool, and he's living his best life now. So that's Michael Abens and the whole Abens family. They're doing phenomenal with the Your Able side too. So it's all, like I said, it's kind of a web. And then I got the real estate side of things now, commercial real estate, that I jumped into over the last year too, and got a couple properties there. So I always look at it as like my web is the center, like Menards in the center, the detail shop is in the center, and then everything else revolves around it. So at any time I can kind of jump out and be the little spider of the web and jump into the places I need or wherever that food's at. But if one part of the web or two parts of the web break down and catches up, or if the string, kind of moves its way in, the web's still there. So that's kind of what, you always hear when you're growing up or going through the business, and all these high guys like Grant Cardone and Tony Robbins are always talking about like your seven ways of income.
Yeah, I think Grant Cardone's possibly a criminal.
He's nuts. I did go to 10X GrowthCon, his first one.
Yeah, his 10X one.
Yeah.
Did you see like who else spoke there? It was like Andy Frisella there, and
that was before Frisella was there. It was before Andy. It was like the beginning. I don't even know who the headliner was. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you.
Grant's got like one of those vibes. Like, I appreciate his content and like what he's got to say, but sometimes I'm like, if this guy ends up indicted or like in handcuffs and some secret side business, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, me neither.
And there's no disrespect to him. He seems like a cool guy, but he also just like seems like he could be up to something.
So one thing because I always look at the best in the person. I don't care what you've done in life. So one thing I've always respected about Grant is his love for his family and his kids. So his wife and his daughters are with him at all. He bought the jet to bring his kids everywhere with him at all times.
I remember listening to him.
About him.
The one thing I really appreciated about him, he was talking about like I forget exactly what it is. So sorry, Grant, if I butcher this. It was just kind of like
which Grant?
Grant Cardone.
Oh, damn.
Dude,
Yeah, he listens.
Grant.
He watches.
Yeah, dude, he definitely listens in
Definitely
his free
listens.
time when he's jetting around.
Yep.
He was talking about drinking alcohol, and he was like, yeah, like he's like, I didn't drink. Maybe, did drink a little bit, but said he didn't drink. He's like, yeah, until I made it to a certain point in life and like had what he wanted, he just like refused to have a good time, basically. And I was like, all right, that's a bit extreme, but like the way he was convicted about it was just like he was so determined to just make it in life, and provide for his family and have like the family that he wants, that I was just like, damn, like that's what it takes to like be a family man on that caliber. He's just like, I'm not playing around like until I meet the right woman, till like it was like he's like
he had to work for her.
Yeah, he was, he wasn't wealthy until he got to a certain age. So he's an older gentleman now. Yeah, of means.
I couldn't do that. Like I have a whole, and I know it sounds super dark and weird, but I've always seen my life as my dad died obviously at 46. I've always seen if I make it to 46, it's a great life.
Okay.
So I'm putting everything out there right now. Like I don't ever look at like, oh, what's going to happen when I'm 50 or 60? Like I don't work towards something like that. It's like I work, if I wake up tomorrow, it's a beautiful thing. If I make it to 46, it's a miracle.
Okay.
Any year after that, and my wife hates when I say that, obviously, understandably. She wants me to live till I'm 80 or 90, and I hope I do. But I put myself in the reality standpoint of, hey, if my dad passed away at 46, I have to understand that can happen to me too. Yeah, that changed everything.
That's what I was going to ask, kind of like when you were like, oh, I took 2 months off, like during Corona, like you seem like you have a good time. Like your energy is like,
oh, bro, I have a great time.
You have a great time where you go places where like I have not always been good at like kind of like.
What do you mean?
Being grateful or appreciating things in the sense that like I can kind of just be like, all right, dude, we're having a good time. Like that's always been kind of difficult for me. Yeah, I've always just kind of been like, if I'm not working on, whatever, thing that I'm focused on at that time, or just always like I constantly, especially when I was younger, I've gotten a lot better as of the last couple of years. But like I was always just focused on just progress, like consistent progress. And if I didn't have that, I wasn't happy.
I realized that when I was in pharma, because I was making a couple $100,000 a year in my early 20s. That's, you're in your early 20s, you make a couple $100,000 now. It's, equating to a couple $1 million when you're married and have a house and expenses. So I had everything, I thought, and I realized how quickly I had nothing. Like, and you hear it all the time. You guys talk about this all the time. Like, I was in my 20s, I was just like miserable. Yeah. In a different way. Like, I never showed it, but I was like, I'm just not happy with this. Obviously, I wasn't. I left it all. I made $36,000. Not even made $36,000. Fucking revenued $36,000 that first year in the detail shop. So I went from making a couple $100,000 a year in my 20s to $36,000 of revenue. Yeah. Like, that's pretty, but I had the greatest time. Oh, my God. I go back to it every day. I wish I could go back to it.
That's what I was trying to tell Gilmore. I tell him that all the time. I'm like, dude, this is the best time. The best. I know it sucks. Like, when we were talking on the phone, that's probably one of the things I was saying. I was like, look, like, this sucks today. Like, I understand why you're upset, but, like, you'll look back on this and be like, this was fucking great. Yes.
Why do you say that, though? Because I hear it a lot.
I guess it's just kind of like, for instance, like when my brother's in the military right now, he gets out sometime next year if we're lucky.
Where's he at?
He's down in Savannah at Hunter Air Force Base or Hunter Army Air Force Base, whatever it's called down there. He's doing doing a Lord's work.
I got it. Yeah.
And he's home right now.
We'll talk about that off.
Yeah. He's home right now on like a quick leave, and like we're talking. I separated from a business partner starting at the end of last year, like into this year, and I always knew that like when my brother used to work with me, like things were always a struggle. And like when I started talking to my brother about like when he gets out of the military, like coming back to work with me, and like we sit around and like we'll talk about like the shit we've done when we were younger, like the stuff we built, or like the problems we got ourselves into, or like the trucks we had, or like, dude, we were talking about the one day like we used to plow snow, and this one year it snowed so fucking much that like we had this like mega worked up Cummins, and we my brother calls me and he's like, dude, I'm fucking stuck. I'm like, how did you get that truck stuck? And then I got
Did
stuck.
you even stack out the hood?
No. But it was like, dude, like 5-inch pipe out the back.
Let's
like,
go.
Speaking of like wheel offsets, like I like literally shattered a rim on that truck doing just like redneck stuff.
I'm only a diesel guy now.
And
fucking love
I
diesels.
have a diesel. You can't.
my
Once you have a
God.
diesel, you can't go back. So I had to order a wheel, and I thought I ordered the right wheel, but like one wheel on the
16
truck
inches and the other
was
ones are
wider.
24.
was wider, and I would get pulled over, and the guy's like, "What's wrong with this wheel?" I'd be like, "Dude, it's a sore subject. I thought I knew what I was doing, but dude, like this one snowstorm, he kept getting stuck. We were trying to do too much.
Yeah.
So then finally we just set up a system where like we would just go to like a driveway, or we were doing like public storage places and stuff. And my brother would just go full fucking speed as fast as he could into the snow to like blast as much out. And I would just hook up my truck and pull him out. And that's literally what we did the entire storm, because there was so much snow that we're like, we don't know how we're going to keep up with this.
Yeah.
And we're just laughing about shit like that. Like we used to have this truck that we called Walker Texas Ranger. It was just like a 95 Ram
Great show.
1500 that I bought when I moved to the city, and I didn't want to take the nice trucks down there. I bought this truck, and like my dog ate a hole in the dashboard. Like my brother, one day we're driving on the highway, my brother just is driving, and he's like, yo, look what I discovered. Just pulls the key out of the ignition.
Yeah.
And like, dude, we never used the key again. We just would just leave it placed and just start it with just by turning the where the key was supposed to go in. Like we would get in car accidents in that car. And just kind of my brother, one time we were sitting there, we were smoking cigarettes, just like going to a job, and like we were like young 20s, and we just got crashed into the back. My brother looks behind us, just waves this chick off. Her Camry was smashed. He's just like, we're late.
Smoking darts.
Just literally was just like, lights up another cig. It was just like, we're late. Like, dude, this car was fucked up. But like, just shit like that. Like, nothing was easy then.
Yeah.
Like the money I have now, like when I have problems now and I freak out, like sometimes I just need a couple minutes or a little journal, which is like, look, like these problems I have now are just like, I mean, you saw what I was going through like early on in the separation. I was like, damn, I felt like I was starting over.
Yeah.
And then once I kind of like separated, like I have no issues with him. Like we had differences on how business should run.
Yeah.
And the decision was made, like it was just better for us to go our separate ways. And I was just like, damn, I felt like fatigued. I was like, I just scaled this whole company up. We really had a great thing going. Like you saw when it was like going really well, like
Yeah, man,
everything
it
was
sick.
amazing. It was like my dream come true. And then it just fell apart like that. And I like it like fucking hurt my ego. It felt like I was like, I just did all this work for nothing kind of a thing. But then after I kind of like calmed down about it, and it just like made me realize, I was like, wow, I just got an experience that like nobody else gets in scaling a business. So that like now what I'm doing it, like how things are growing very quickly now,
Expedite it. Yep.
people don't realize that's like, because I've already done some of this. I've already done some of this wrong. I've already seen other people do some of these things, maybe not wrong, but like with different effect. So like it was really an amazing opportunity. And now it's just kind of like, I look back on the times when I used to be like, dude, like, what are we going to, like, how are we going to pay this truck payment kind of days? Like when we were young 20s thinking we should have a business, like, you're just like, damn, like those were good times. Like we made it. We made it work. Like we had a good time, but at the time it was stressful as fuck. Like I wish, that's why like I tell you that so much, because at the time when I saw you like having your moment like 2 weeks ago, I was like, dude, I have been here and I need to make sure that you like get the support you need to realize like, dude, this is gonna be okay. Like I had some of those people, but I really didn't at the same time. Like I had my brother, and you know, my mom would offer her words, but she doesn't know, like listening to someone that you're like a coach that has no coaching experience. You're like, Mom, I know you're just telling me everything's going to be okay, but like, you know, jack shit about what's going on right now. So like, you're just momming me right
Pull
now.
out, son.
Yeah. So it was just finding like where I got support was like Andy Frisella podcasts. Like when I discovered Jocko Willink
Beast.
and Andy Frisella, like when I discovered Andy Frisella, I was in like a previous relationship before my wife. Things weren't going well. I was in architecture school. I was trying to run the business, renovate my whole house. Like when I mean my whole house, like we gutted a house and did it from scratch and we're like living in it. So like my whole life was just fucking a project. And when I like at the time, like that toxic masculinity thing was starting to come up in society. And my way of doing things was like, we're going to shove this down the success pipe and launch it no matter what. And nobody is going to tell me otherwise. So like there was a lot of people where you would come into contact with like in college or out of college that were just soft. And like, I just saw their opinions as like, at the time, probably like inferior, but like it still kind of hurt me to be like, these people think I can't do this, or like these people don't even, you know, they're not on the same path. So when I found Andy, I was like, oh, okay, like feeling the way I do isn't wrong. Cause like I was kind of like starting to feel guilty for like demanding so much out of everybody that I was with in terms of like my friends, my brother, myself. Like everybody would just be like, you need to chill. And I'd be like, no, there is no chill here. There's only do. And it wasn't all correct on how I was doing it. It was like there was like a bit of toxicity or abrasiveness to like the way I conducted myself that wasn't effective. But like the good component of it was like there was no fail. It was only ever just figure it out until it works. And those times back then is like, damn, like I got in a motorcycle accident, broke my collarbone, and then we taped and spackled an entire house. And that's why when people are like, how are you so good at spackle? Like people think I don't work. Like they think the toolbox in my truck is just like empty. Like it's just like a guitar case with no guitar. And when people see me spackle, they're like, how do you do that? I'm like, I had a broken collarbone, like completely fucking broken. And my brother would load my tray up and be like, don't make mistakes. You can't sand them. And I would literally just be like, give me a good arm. And I would sit there and I was like, I got to be really good at this. And like that house, like turned out great, but like with a broken collarbone, you know, broke a collarbone and 2 weeks later you close on a house that you're planning on completely gutting.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
So you see how cool that was? After the last 10 minutes, like you asked a question of, you know, what are the moments about? Went on a roll.
Yeah.
You're just going to be fired up.
That's what it's like, man.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And it's the same stories we could share 10 times over with the same people. You're going to have the same reaction, which is just awesomeness.
Yeah.
It feels so cool. Like there's nothing like going back because those are the moments that are truly meaningful to it.
But there's people you know that like can appreciate it in the moment.
Yeah.
And I was not that guy.
No, but you do appreciate it now. And you understand that. Yeah. And you can appreciate things in the moment.
But that's why like you're that type of person though, that I know that like you slow down enough to be like, all right, this is actually kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm glad that I'm able to. I don't think I'm completely 100% self-aware, but I'm pretty self-aware, and I feel that I'm pretty good at taking a step back and looking at where I am and taking everything into account. I've been telling Andrew here and there, I've been having a lot of moments of gratitude recently where I'm because I drive for 45 minutes. Sometimes I listen to 94.1, sometimes I don't. But I get a lot of time to think. Shout out. Yeah, shout out. I get a lot of time to sit there and think while I'm driving, or even when I'm walking. I like to look up instead of down because, I don't know, I feel when you look up at the sky, you're like, I can't believe we're fucking here. Everything is real. This is real. So it kind of then makes me appreciate everything that's going on, or the friends or people that I have in my life. So it's cool that I'm able to take a step back and appreciate what's going on now. And it's cool that you guys are able to do that as well and even look back at things.
Well, it's appreciating certain things too. Like I don't appreciate this guy, as weird as that is.
Yeah.
Right, but I appreciate moments like this. Like this is what I'm going to be talking about. It's like I just want to sell these two rad dudes drink a gimlet. You know? Talk about selling drugs. My mom's going to listen to it. You know, but that's like going out and meeting new people and experiencing it. That's what I'm grateful for. Like seeing this guy, I think he's beautiful, and climbing the mountains is awesome. My wife, I do it for my wife because she likes the end result, which is seeing the beauty of a lake that's on this monstrosity of something that's coming out of the land. It's cool. But for me, it's the experience of walking up and talking to her the whole time and looking at her butt while she's in front of me.
Hell yeah. What I'm talking about.
First shotgun, dude. Yeah. Give me some romantic sounds.
Yeah. Do we have any?
I think pink.
Pink? Is it pink? Oh.
Yeah. Hear that, honey?
I'm coming for you.
Yeah, but it's moments like that. Like that's why I'm all about the connection of the, each human connection to me.
Yeah, that's why.
And that's each human's different. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Once I realized that's like what I was about. Like I was a kid in college that'd be like, would you shut the fuck up about talking business or like talking about like, and then I like over time I was just like, dude, like the podcast can be that.
Yep.
Like we can sit down and learn about somebody's story, and like you leave as our friend.
Yeah.
And like that's cool shit to me. People all the time talk to me like, "Oh, when are you gonna monetize it, or when are you gonna do this?" And I'm like, I kind of already do in a abstract way.
100%.
Yeah, psychic income.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot out of this podcast that doesn't.
Shitload out of this podcast.
Relationships, just
Look at that smile.
everything. Yeah, man,
dude,
it's
we've
insane.
Got so much. Like, dude,
It's
people
insane.
like we know people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah,
is the coolest part.
yeah.
Right, being a connector. I mean, I learned that, or just in general, I teach that too. It's like you got to be a connector. Like you're one connection away from a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You also got to be willing and open and able to ask.
Yeah,
Like, hey, do you know this person, or do you know anybody in this world?
that's still kind of uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, to like ask for help or ask like, hey, can you introduce me to this person?
Oh, dude, I love it when people ask me that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would fucking ask you.
You can ask me anytime. Anybody you want, anybody. And here's the thing, I'll just put it out there. Because I've also lived my life on that I don't give a fuck mentality. Like, I really don't care what other people think about me. I really could not give a rat's ass what other people thinking about me. So if it's like a simple, like, hey, can you get me in front of, I don't know, Donald Trump? Like, yeah, sure. Give me like 10 minutes. I'm going to go make some calls.
Awesome.
I'm just not afraid of asking. Like, what's it going to do to me? It's not going to affect me.
Yeah,
Maybe in that present moment, they'll be like, no, dude, absolutely not. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like,
I'll call
talk to
back
you
tomorrow. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll see you next week. Like,
Yeah.
all right, that's fine. But it's how you leave the moment, right? A lot of people leave so frustrated and so upset with the person in front of them. And they're like, oh my God, my world's over. Like, how many divorces do you see based off of one conversation that went bad?
Yeah.
And now they're divorced and their whole, nobody opens up to the next. I just don't allow that to happen. So when my wife yells at me, I just laugh. She hates it too. I know. Sorry, but there's a lot of things I'm opening up about right now. When she yells about me, it's just like,
speak your truth.
yeah, speaking of, it's, I don't, because it just doesn't affect me the way that it does her. And I get it. She's a very emotional person. And I love that about her. I'm just not. I'm really not. Like, it takes a lot for me to cry. But I feel the emotion. Like, I wholeheartedly feel the emotion. So, and I can relate to the emotion. I just can't be the emotional person that some people need, which is totally fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no.
Right?
Yeah, no.
But it's the cool part about what I love about myself is that I just know myself really well. Really, really, really well.
I think you have to be successful. You have to be honest with yourself,
Yep.
and to like help other people be successful. In order for you to be like a successful coach in the terms of like helping people,
Yep.
you have to be honest about your own inconsistencies to be able to call out another.
100%. And I still feel broke, as weird as that sounds. I'm very successful in other people's eyes. I'm extremely broke to myself, meaning financially.
Yeah,
I'm
I feel
fine.
that.
I'm totally, yeah, isn't it weird? But it's like, people are like, dude, you got all this money, you got these cars, you got these watches, you got the houses, you got all this stuff going on. I'm like, 100%. Like, I even told my advisors last week, I looked them dead in the eye on Monday. I said, guys, I feel fucking broke.
Yeah.
And that's what also drives me every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I'm totally fine with that.
I was told that's never going to go away for me.
It'll never go away. Nope,
Yeah.
never go away. Unless you want to live in a 20-foot Airstream and grow dreadlocks out.
Yeah.
But even he calls me, right?
full shaman, dude.
But yeah, unfortunately in the States, it's just some way about the red, white, and blue that, that has never gone away, and I wish it would, is that financially puts you in this level of person. At the end of the day, that's why I'm like, I'm not afraid to connect people. People call me a connector all the time. When you need somebody, I'm going to make sure they're the best at what they do, but I'm 100% going to connect you with them. There's nothing about me that's not going to put in. It's then your relationship that will define if you guys are going to move past that or not. Yeah, but it has no effect on me. I was just happy to help you out and put you in the right spot.
I had a moment like that. Like, I've been trying, because I'm telling you to appreciate things like I'm trying to appreciate things, but I had a moment where someone from the event reached out to me the other day, like our happy hour, and was like, hey, I'm trying to buy this electrical business in New Jersey. Do you know anybody? Do you know an electrician that's licensed in New Jersey? Because I got to have a license on this deal. And I was like, dude, not only do I know an electrician, but I know an amazing businessman electrician.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we'll make some good at business. And I'm like, well, my friend who owns an electrical company, Ron Fish, shout out. Now he owns like a race team. So like they build Subarus.
Sick.
He
the
like
Subaru guy?
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta get me involved.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
a big Subi guy.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. I'm in the
Subies.
connector. That's what they call me now. So I was like,
So it
and he the other gentleman, Bob, like called me. He's like, dude, I talked to him on the phone. Like, the appreciation for making that connection. I was like, damn. I'm like, this is working.
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, so what kind of Subarus does he have?
I'll show you after the podcast. I'll send you his Instagram.
Yeah, he
There's-
has sick.
and he like pulls them apart and puts them back together.
Yeah,
like
man.
He's building rally cars? Or street cars?
drag cars. He has a Subaru. He's like sent him fast.
Yeah.
That
shop.
shit's fast.
Yeah, it's Cope Performance. COPE.
You need a shout out button on that.
Yeah, shotgun.
Shout out, we got shotguns though.
Give me the horn too.
Give me the horn. That was a little loud. That was a little loud, so I had to drop it.
What? I guess we'll leave you on this.
Yeah.
What's your favorite car right now?
My favorite car.
What's your dream car, and what's your your favorite car that you have maybe?
So I go back to every car has a purpose. So it's tough to name one. Like every car I own has a purpose. That car has a purpose. So when people are like, why do you have two of the same thing? Well, they're completely different.
Yeah.
My eyes each have a purpose to their own life. So it's hard to name one. My first car I ever owned is an '07 Mustang GT. Still have it to this day. Went on my first date, got pulled over, going that 120.
Convertible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that thing.
Red?
Grab or orange. Grab or orange.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. I was working at Sioka dealerships in college, and it came on the lot. And I looked over, and I was like, I need that car. I bought it. So I worked my ass off. I worked overtime. Actually, Mr. Sioka came up to me 2 weeks left in the internship and said, why are you working so much? So it was 9 to 9, Monday through Friday, and 9 to 5 on Saturday, or 9 to 6, whatever it was. So you can do the time. I was working 40 hours overtime. And I paid that car off. That was hard work, right? I paid that car off that summer. So I also learned the value of something that's super expensive to me. I can make work fairly quickly as long as I just put the work into it. Or the time to do it. Anyway, so that Mustang means a lot to me. I bought a World Rally car, though, a couple years ago. A guy built it with his son over 20 years out of Texas. My buddy Jordan, low baller GTR, sick paid. The dude. My buddy Jordan is one of the most rad people in this world. Super down to earth, incredible cars, coolest dude just to hang out with and have a gimlet with. Like, the dude is just him and his wife Star. I've never, other than my parents, outside of our personal family, I've never seen love like this between two people in my life. It is so cool. And they support each other through every aspect. Anyway, so he had this rally car. He only buys black cars.
Okay.
Every car he has is only black. Crazy collection. He's our age, in his mid-30s. And he had this white, it was a white car, and it would cost him like $40,000 to pull the thing.
Is that the one with the roll cage with like the ported, that thing, the metal work on that cage is insane.
This dude went nuts, and dude, the receipts, I have over 300 pages of receipts for that car.
Damn.
I showed my wife at the car show. I was like, come here, appreciate these. I was like, you see these holes?
Oh, you saw it?
I was like, these are all punched.
Yep.
And she's like, why? I was like, weight reduction.
Yep, exactly.
Damn.
Strength.
It's such a fun car. It's so slow. I'm gonna do a sequential gearbox in it. I'm waiting for the motor to blow. I always tell my wife I won't build a car until the motor blows. So it's at a tune shop right now, getting overtuned.
Hell yeah.
I love that car.
They call you up there, Grant, you sure you want this too?
Yeah. But my favorite car, I mean, I don't know, one that I own or one that I want, I guess.
Probably would, at this point in your life, what do you want? Like, what car?
So what am I going after right now?
Yeah, like what car are you going after?
So I just got an allocation for a Raptor R this morning, which is pretty cool. But Fords are where my heart lies.
Okay.
67 Mustang. I just do things really different. If you couldn't tell, I drove a Honda Element for years. And I drove a smart car for about 4 years after that to the city and back.
Hell yeah.
So there's a 1967 Mustang that I want, or 67 Mustang. I want to wide body it, extended by 2 inches, full carbon fiber.
What do they call that car something? The Eleanor?
So it's the Eleanor, but I'm going to make it different.
Okay.
And here's how. I'm going to put a fucking Cummins in it.
Yeah.
I'm going to build a 2,000 wheel torque. I'm going to drive it as a daily, a million miles.
Yeah.
So it's going to be called the Million Mile Mustang. And so there's a shop in Wisconsin right now that we're working with right now and building this thing to see if it can actually work because the motor's so tall. But I want it low to the ground. I want it to be fucking visceral. I want this thing to contort and just make no sense. And I'm going to drive it for 1 million miles.
Hell
Yeah, because the motor's tall, but it's like it can fit in that bay.
It can easily fit.
It's just, is it going to scrape the ground when you put it in there, or is it going to stick out of the hood?
That's the question. So we're looking at oil pans now. We're working with the roadster shop to see what kind of chassis we can put under there that will make us work. Because I want it slammed. I don't want a lifted one. I don't want it to look like an off-road 67. Kind of like the Gas Monkey Garage. You know, he's got his Mustang, the green one that's got the light bar in it. I don't want that. I want this thing to be Night Stalker, like a fucking Black Hawk rolling through the streets.
Hell yeah.
And it makes no sense.
Dude,
He sounds like a menace when he's
dude.
like straight.
I've been dreaming of this car since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like legitimately of this car. I've been visualizing this car every day forever. I got the price of what the car is now going to cost me to do. So I made it to that point. I got the person to say yes to me.
Wow.
Out of Bear Jackson this year in Arizona to say yes to me. Yes, we will build this for you. They stopped building cars again. So, but they're coming out of retirement for this car for me.
Yo.
So that's
Somebody's giving up a nut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be giving up plenty of nuts. Think I just nutted just now. Talking about it.
Yeah, he turned into like a whole other person.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
he switched,
Like
dude.
when Spider-Man
Dude.
becomes Venom, he's like, he's like the Dark Knight over here. It's just like, oh man.
Well, the car I've created in my brain, I've isolated to all my cars now. So like I have an F450 that is fully stealth mode. Like we're going police interceptor car with this monstrous of a truck, and it's like when it's coming at you and you're looking at this thing, it's like I don't know. My mind just goes nuts when I look at cars. It's so fun. So when I can dream about this, everyone said it can never be done. Never be done. Well, I call it the best shop in the world when it comes to Mustangs. And I said, please make it be done. And it took me a little over a year and a half and asking people to connect me. I said, guys, I know I'm just a detailer. I know it doesn't seem like I can probably afford this, but please make the connection. I need this car so bad. And this is my last ditch effort. These are the guys that are going to do it. I got to get them out of retirement for this thing.
Wow.
It's two brothers that just build cars. And the reason that they went into retirement is because they got bored by doing the same thing. No one got creative until I came around.
Damn.
Look at that smile.
Oh, my God.
Insane, dude.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where, but that 67 Mustang drop down, carbon fiber body, 2,000 wheel torque of just fucking, I can talk about it all day.
Hell yeah.
I visualize it. So now it's becoming reality.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
It's
same.
going to be about 5 to 7 years from now. It's gonna be
Doylestown
fun.
Car Show 2027.
Yeah. So I'm going to take it. So we're going to pick it up in Wisconsin. I'm going to drive it up to Seattle. I'm going to do the whole PCH in the car.
Okay.
And then I'm going to zigzag my way up the state. So if you ever look at a map, you ever see how the highways are lined up or set up on the
Yeah, they go sideways. It's like I-95, 80.
95 down to 5, yeah.
Yeah.
So odd numbers down to basically Route 1, and then positive numbers starting with 10 all the way up to 90.
Yeah.
So I'm going to zigzag my way across states in that car. I got to put a million miles in that thing.
Yeah, you do.
It's going to be difficult to put I mean,
Dude,
it's trucker style.
You're going to be YouTube famous after that.
I'm not going to put it out there.
No?
No, nobody's going to know about it.
Oh.
Nope.
Except for us.
Except for you guys.
And
I mean, friends,
and
yeah.
nobody listens to this.
Because notoriety, like, I always look at notoriety, and I'm like, what's the point of it? Right? Because
Yeah.
to me, it doesn't mean it. Again, like, we're going back to what we're grateful for. I'm grateful for connection. And I connect with my cars, too, oddly enough. So that's what I'm grateful. I'm going to be extremely grateful for that million miles. It's going to be like I'm going to raise a child all the way up to a grandparent, and then it's going to have to die.
Do you name your cars?
No, other people name my cars. Yeah.
But your cars have names.
Yeah, a couple of them, yeah. Spicy. That's my nickname. So Spicy G's the Mustang. Or Mac and Cheese. Dude, this little shit kid walked in the shop one day. Looked at my car. It was like painted 4 different colors at the time. My Mustang, my baby. Before I had to go get it repainted because of this little shit. And he looks at the car. He goes, "Oh, it looks like a Mac and Cheese car." And I wanted to punt the dude. I was like, "You little mofo, get out of my shop." And his dad, who's a car guy, knew exactly how that just like tore my insides apart.
Man.
Yeah,
His
dude.
name's
Like
Matt. Yeah.
the Volkswagen we have is
He's a
yellow,
Volkswagen guy too. Yeah.
and people used to call it Big Bird.
Oh.
And like my brother's ex-girlfriend from high school gave him like a little Big Bird figurine, and you could tell him he's fucking pissed.
Dude, it hits you. Yeah. But you know what? It's like any nickname. You hate your nickname for like 2 years, and then finally it just hits, and you're like, all right, whatever. It's part of who I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Earn it. Grant, thanks so much for coming
Thanks,
on.
guys.
Thank
For
you.
becoming friends with us.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
We're friends with you now.
Yeah, 100%.
We don't have a
We're
choice.
Can't go back. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I'll go with that.
And Claire, thank you so
Claire.
much. You want to pop in and say
Oh,
hi?
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me turn your mic on. Yeah. No, you use that mic right there.
No, you got
My
the mic.
beautiful sister, everybody.
Okay.
Hi.
She's not single right now, but when this podcast comes out, who
Grant.
knows?
Not cool. Taking the mic. Well, I just have to say, I grew up with 4 older brothers, and everyone used to always ask me, when I was younger, they would say, "Who's your favorite brother?" And easily, always Grant, which was totally inappropriate. Like, no one ever says who their favorite child is. And when I got older, I'm like, that was so not cool. Like, no one ever says who their favorite child is. I shouldn't have said who my favorite sibling was. So I asked my Aunt Mia, who's great. If you have any question ever, you can call her and she will just like bring you home. And I asked her, I'm like, why did I always say that Grant was my favorite sibling? And she said, because when I grew up with 4 older brothers. I was probably a little crazy girl. And when my older brothers would pick on me, Grant would say, "No, you guys just don't understand her." And that really is like the epitome of Grant. Like, as much as he's been giving credit to everyone else at the shop today, like I've been sitting here texting everyone like, I'm crying in the club right now. Like, Grant is so sweet. He's giving everyone so much credit, but really like, shout out to Grant, because he really is like, he gives so much credit to everyone else, but he, like, the reason why the business is what it is because of Grant. Like, he understands everyone. No one, like, there's obviously, like, everyone has bickering at the shop, but no one bickers with Grant. Like, he understands everyone. He's there to, like, support everyone, see what they need. Like, he checks in with everyone. So, yeah.
Thanks, sis.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great way to end the show.
No, he really is.
I trained him, so.
This was scripted.
Claire gets a raise on Monday.
He just pulls out 100 and just slides it.
He makes sure to make sure that everyone feels a part of the team and never says like you don't work for Grant, you work with Grant, and he just makes sure to like be like so great about making everyone feel like a part of the team and feel like they're welcome, and yeah, he's great.
Thanks, sis. Love you.
Dude, thanks so
So
much.
he needs credit.
Yeah.
As much as I didn't want to be featured, because I'm like, Grant's giving credit to everyone else except for himself. Like, it really is. It's the business because he's a genius.
Thanks.
A business genius, so he's great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much
Yeah,
for
that was
coming
awesome.
on and
Thanks,
saying
sis.
that. That means
That
a
was
lot.
awesome. Yeah,
So
That's $10,000 bonus.
yeah.
Claire's getting a Lambo.
Hey, let me say nice things about you.
Me first, come on, shut up.
You better write that description of this
Yeah,
podcast, right?
He like doesn't let me edit this one. He's just like, I got it.
You'll have a
Lock
golf
it.
R. Yeah, yellow golf R showing up on your front porch on Monday.
Hell yeah.
Dude, this was great.
It was a blast, guys.
This was a
It was
blast,
awesome.
man. So this is No Prisoners podcast. Grant Menard, his sister Claire, Gilmar, myself, and Rambo underneath the table. We appreciate you guys for listening. Check us out every week. Come to our events the last Wednesday of every month, and look out for what we're doing in the future. Appreciate you guys.